only lost when I weighed myself 5 pounds. I lost 2 dress sizes, but I only lost 5 pounds. And I was really shocked. I hadn't even noticed I had lost any weight. I was so used to being the big girl that I was, I hadn't even noticed my clothes were not fitting me anymore. But that's when my husband saw me. The day I took my pictures, that's when he saw me for the first time. He was new in our city. He saw me for the first time, and he said that day he looked at me and saw that I was his next wife. He said, I've been looking for a wife for 5 years. And the next day, he literally asked me to marry him. Now, of course, I thought it was a lie, and I wasn't believing it at all. But he hung in there. He hung in there, and we were friends for a year. I mean, strictly just friends. I mean, he wanted me to be his wife, but I kept pushing off. And I'll tell you about that another time. But when the Lord told me he was the husband that he had for me all along, and then we dated, I think, for a month and a half, and then we got married. And we've been married now, Valentine's Day will be 19 years. So I'm saying all this to say, we need to work on ourselves before we get married. My husband said, you know, baby, you're the best gift to me that God could have given me. He said, so please don't go making it unattractive. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, by saying bad things about yourself. He said, promise me you won't start, you decide you might pick up some weight here. He said, because as you get older, you will pick up some weight. And so I said, yeah, I promise you, I won't do that. I'm done dieting. The Lord told me that I'm done dieting. And so he said, you can have the best glass of wine, but if someone puts a teaspoon of sewage in it, it's ruined. It's not fit for anything. And he said, that's what I don't want you to do. I see you as a perfect glass of wine. And as soon as you open your mouth and start saying, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that, he said, is you just put sewage in that perfect glass of wine. And it's not fit for anybody. He said, surely it won't be fit for me anymore. So that's something that I always keep in mind. And the wonderful thing about it, what I now understand, the Lord has speeded my progress up, because I had no idea in the next couple of years I would be coming to South Africa. And when I came to South Africa, I probably was at my highest weight. And then when I got on the radio for those 3 years, I spoke to my partner that was on with me. We were both 2 big girls. She was married, I was married. But we've been big all of our lives. And so we both had some of the same experiences. And all of a sudden the Lord had us talking to women in particular about being fat. And how we kind of close up shop, and we start thinking nobody wants us, nobody loves us, whether we're single, married, engaged, whatever. We have a hard time dealing with our self-image. And our self-esteem is so low that we can never find anything good in ourselves. We don't find anything good in other people. We just kind of go through life and just exist. I've spoken at some of the schools here, in elementary school and high schools, and there's always some fat kids in the audience. And I always share with them that no matter what size you are, no matter what you think about your hair or your nose or your lips or your behind, whatever you have, love the skin you're in. You have to love yourself first before anything will begin to change. I remember telling my best friend Grace, who was on the radio with me, I had to be her mentor in this. She was much bigger than I was. Not much. I see pictures now and I think, wow. You tell you're buying something, that becomes true. Because in my mind, I was much smaller than she was. But I look at the pictures and I see, no, we're about the same size. Only she's taller than me. But I started telling her, instead of saying bad things about yourself, do what the Lord made me do. Rub my body. Touch the parts of me standing in front of the mirror. And begin to say, I love you. You're worthy of being loved. So what if you have big feet? So what if you have a big nose? The Lord made me. He made me. And I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And so it took her a long time to do it. I would even call her and say, okay, just put the phone down and let me hear you start. And then I would call her name and she didn't start right away. She'd pick up the phone. And I said, come on, let's get started right now. I said, I know it's hard. So I'm challenging you today. My issue was my weight. What's your issue? Is it, I don't know, you wish you were taller? I know for guys, usually most men want to be tall. Or at least tall enough, taller than 5'5". If you are, great. If you are not, great. Some short people have done some great things in life, and you can do it too. You don't have to be. Perhaps that woman that's waiting for you to find her wants a man who's short like her. You never know. I had no idea that the man that God had for me would love my big thighs. I had no idea. I didn't think anybody would find them attractive because I didn't. So what is it that you have a hard time admiring about your own self? What is it that when someone gives you a compliment, you can't even believe them? You think they're just lying. Just what do they want? They must want something, because I know that's not true. When someone tells you that you're beautiful or you're handsome, do you believe them? Yeah, I know how that is. And if those things are issues for you, that means your self-esteem is very low. And you need to raise it, because you want the best in your life. You know what happens when you have a little self-esteem? What happens is you settle for less. Instead of saying, I deserve the best man or the best woman in my life. One day I'm going to marry a great man. One day I'm going to marry a great woman. And she's going to be everything I need her to be for me. He's going to be everything I need him to be for me. But guess what? If your self-esteem is so low that all you say is, I just want to get married. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what he does. Then guess, that's what you're going to get. The word says, so a man thinketh, so he is. So if you think you're less than, the world will rise up to meet you and say, yep, you're less than. But if you say, I'm better than that. I am a great woman of God. I am a great woman. I deserve only the best. And see if you get it in your spirit after you tell yourself that enough times. See if you don't get the best. Notice how different men, or for you if you're a guy, the women that look at you, how all of a sudden they change. They're no longer that person that you used to date. Women that have low self-esteem, a lot of times you choose abusive men because you're just looking for somebody to love you. But when you start loving yourself, watch and see what you get. Your confidence will cause you to blossom. Sir, I'm telling you, whatever it is, God has a woman for you. Ma'am, God has a man just for you that will like every little thing about you. Try it and see. Today, I want to give you a homework assignment for 29 days of mirror work. And journal it. I want you to get a journal, and I want every day that you speak something positive to yourself. I want you to write down how it made you feel throughout the day. I mean, at the end of the day, I want you to write it down, but I want you to think about it all through the day. How did it make you feel to say that about you? And write it down. Keep a journal. And then on the date, the very date that it gets down in your spirit, and you know for sure that you're becoming who you're saying you are, write it down, and I want you to really elaborate it. This is just for you. I wish you were in my classroom, then I can hear what you're saying. But write it down. Show yourself that you are somebody. Show yourself that you are worthy of getting the best. You don't have to have all the things you think you have to have. You just have to have love for yourself. So with that, I hope you're going to do the challenge. Oh, and I forgot one thing. If you miss a day, guess what? You have to start all over again. Scientists have proven that if you do it to break an old habit or to start a new habit, you have to do it consecutively 29 days. And it's true. The Lord had me do that, and I didn't know anything about what the scientists said back then. So I want you to do it, and I want you to promise me that if you miss a day, you'll start all over again. Don't cheat yourself. Why should you cheat your own self? This is for you. Okay? So with that, I'm going to say good night. Well, some places it's good morning. But I just pray in the name of Jesus that you will take this challenge and you will allow your self-esteem to rise to higher heights. God never made any junk. He made us perfectly. It's up to us to agree with Him. So you be blessed. And I'll see you next Monday. Same time, same place. I love you. Bye now.